military industrial complex, and the New World Order.
Hey, welcome to Fear Porn Propaganda. I'm Wisecraft, and today I'm with Robert. J.
Hey, how you guys?
And apparently I just got another person, Truth Nugal.
Hey, how's it
Welcome,
going?
guys. Let me turn off my other thing because apparently it's coming through.
Yeah, and actually it's a no wall. Like it's actually a pretty old word. It's a Native American word, actually.
There. Okay, so we're talking about magic with a CK, the occult and symbolism, and how it's shaped our culture throughout history. And offline, at first we were talking about Dungeons and Dragons, and we kind of went back to how that kind of shaped it. And I was talking to Robert, and he was telling me about the original where it first came out, and how that came into play and how it kind of shaped it. So go for it, man.
Yeah, I'm actually just going down memory lane here a little bit myself. I'm getting reacquainted with the old books and everything. I pretty much own most of them, but it's been a long time. Anyway, yeah, I played probably during the 80s. I was rather young when I started playing, so I mean, you can imagine how that would kind of really, like, at that age, like, you can get really impressed upon, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But anyhow, yeah, Dungeons and Dragons, we played advanced AD&D all the way right up to about 89, 90. I started probably in like 83. I was like 9 when I started. So there's a good chunk of space there. But yeah, I was going to say, just to start things off with the occult, is that games like that represented a really kind of either one could interpret it as a sneaky measure or as a good gateway to finding out new things about other stuff like occult and, occultism, monsters, magic, even some stuff that had a foothold in reality, like the technology of the times of medieval times and warfare, like that kind of stuff also applied. Anyway, any comments on that? I know you said something about magic.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, the magic with the K. I mean, C, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which was a game. It was a card game that like I got into when I was like, early teens or like high school time.
I played that too. I played a little bit. I was a novice at it.
There you go. So like, there was definitely some little tie-ins to Dungeons and Dragons that were kind of played into a card roleplay scenario where you'd whatever was on the card was kind of referenced in a fantasy world to, your imagination kind of going back to wherever you can kind of attach it to, and generally it would go towards the Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
Yeah. See, you got to remember also too that like, I guess the game mechanics are entirely different well, I shouldn't say entirely different. What I should say is that the mechanics alone are pretty much very similar. Instead of dice rolls, you had the random aspect of what cards are in the deck kind of thing. Whereas these games, though, you could probably research an entire thing, whatever it may be, for weeks, and then build these little adventure modules for your friends to go through, and having to do that kind of research allows you to really delve in deeply, like more deeply into these subjects. With the cards, yeah, again, a lot of these things get referenced, but it doesn't require any external modification in order to make the game possible. And it's a pretty rapid fire kind of a game too, is it not? These card games.
In a way, like sometimes there would be like arguments that would be like stupid just because of the situation of the timing. Like it's
right.
a matter
And the way
of
the cards were played, kind of thing. Yeah.
But it's pretty much immediate results kind of deal though. Like as far as the way the game works, right?
Yeah, but there was things called instants where you can play at any time. So that threw off a lot of things, especially if you had many people playing at once.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I see. I never really got. I watched a lot of kids play it, and it's just like, yeah, that's great. You know, that's.
Right.
But I mean, but that said, I
There's
mean,
still people playing it these days. I
oh
mean,
yeah, it's, you know what it is though. I mean, like being able to take a deck of cards out of your pocket and just play anywhere is a lot different from what we used to do with AD&D. I mean, we used to have to get a place in the basement big enough at somebody's house that where six of us could sit there, smoke and drink all night and not getting shit, you know. And
right.
you know what I mean? And like, yeah, it was kind of. It was a lot more of an elaborate kind of a setup. We wouldn't just be able to go outside and play on a park bench. It would be kind of retarded, rolling dice and pencils and, you know, papers everywhere and books. You know, it's just a big mess. But yeah, I mean, it did allow for a lot more, I guess you could say, in-depth research and a lot more. I don't know. I mean, it depends on the dungeon master, I guess, if you would, because it's up to his imagination, it's up to his creativity, and whether or not he wants to be a total dirtbag or not. I had DMs who just like killing off characters.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I mean when you know, I mean, I haven't played only a couple times, but like I've communicated with lots of people that have played, and there's always these stories of the DMs that kind of just like get a little too power hungry, if you will.
Yeah. And it does happen, but I mean, but then again, it's up to, you know, it's up to your peers. It's up to your peers to keep each other in check, that kind of thing, self-moderation, what have you. But going back, let's see here. I'm just looking at the Dungeons and Dragons history here. Yeah, first published in 1974. Look at that, my birth year.
Yeah,
That's
nice.
funny. Let's see. Tactical studies rules. Yeah, that was TSR. Look at that name, eh? We were just talking about predictive programming or the possibility of predictive programming in these games. Tactical Studies Rules Inc.
Right,
You know,
right.
it's funny. I knew them as TSR. I never knew what TSR stood for until now.
That's weird.
Wow. So yeah, D&D departs from traditional wargaming. Oh yeah, assigns each player a specific character to play, blah, blah. We all know what role-playing games are, so I'm not going to bother reading any of that stuff. But, sorry, you were saying, Fearporn?
No, nothing. I was going to ask Truth if he had anything to add in.
I've never played D&D. I did play, you know, quite a bit of Magic, and I don't know, the whole, like, it's a very strange atmosphere, I guess. You know, I've been to places where they had like tournaments and stuff, and it's just like, I don't know, the whole culture is very, very different. I think it's really kind of, more or less at this point, it's like more of a pastime. It's something, I guess, since the digital age has rolled around, it's transferred onto the computer side of it now.
You're right, you know, absolutely, because now that imagination's been replaced by really awesome graphics, and you know what I mean, and people can actually play it out, and like, I mean, it's a little bit more lazy for the brain, if you know what I mean, but
yeah, absolutely,
it's a little more funner too, I guess I have to admit.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I mean, they even have Magic the Gathering on, like,
but you know, you lose stuff like that, I think, because there's that aspect of gift for your deck.
Yeah. I don't know. I did look into the symbolism a lot, you know, because when I was a kid, I was raised Christian and stuff. So like at the time, I was all like, you know, it was all dark and evil, and you know, people, like stuff, you know, were like condemning Magic cards, saying they could cast spells and stuff. You know, before that, I was playing it, and you know, I never like I thought it never came off like that. It never got like that bad from it. You know, I'd go hang out at like the comic book store where they like sold all the good cards. You could look through them, and you know, like some of the guys, they knew the actual artists that did the graphics for the cards and stuff, and they had like statues from the original artists, and it seemed like a very like, I don't know, just kind of expression to me in a way. It didn't seem as dark as people had made it out to be, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, it depended on the cards, right? Because like there's the white ones and the black ones, and the white ones were very clerical versions, and the black ones were very scary, like creepy looking, like death type of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It even says here in the 80s, yeah, there was a moral panic on the street. Parents realizing their kids are about this paganistic and satanistic stuff, right? And it's all coming from AD&D, or D&D rather, and AD&D. But yeah, the Dungeons and Dragons movement. Oh yeah, they got slammed by the church because everyone thought suddenly these kids are turning into Satanists.
I lived through a lot of that. I mean, even the music, like at the time, like, you know, stuff that I don't even listen to anymore, but like it was popular when I was smack. They were just getting popular, and you know, it was like Christian, like the church that I went to, it was very open to things, but they were like, you know, it's still like even just in the community, it got like that bad. Changed a lot in the past, I don't know, 15 years or so. It's really been, I don't know, you look at the shift and it's interesting. It's like we've kind of like desensitized ourselves to these symbols and to, you know, now what used to have these negative connotations, people don't think twice about it anymore. It's just part of their society now.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to have to go look deeper into this too, because I was talking to Fear Porn before the show started about how it would be interesting, because a lot of that research into some of the Satanistic or occult related stuff is, you know, it was a lot, there's a lot of material that you're learn about it through the Dungeons and Dragons game itself, because I mean, it had tons of books, like tons of like reference books, about arcana, about monsters, about different spell bindings, and you know, everything you can imagine, like even like technology of like the weaponry of the medieval days and everything else, like right down to what they did and how they worked. You know what I mean? Like there's lots of really good stuff out there. I'm gonna do a little screen share here just to give you guys an idea. Where are we here? Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Sure. Okay.
You're there. Oh. There you go.
Yeah, so you can see all these different books here. That one in red, that was the original one. I remember that one. That was when the game was first released. But going back up here, if you go here, you got the Player's Handbook for AD&D, the Dungeon Master's Guide.
I don't know, if you're a Christian, you probably look at this stuff as like demonic for sure.
Yeah, totally. It's like, what? My son's got what? Just freaking out. I'm trying to find. There's one of the arcane here.
Well, you know, a quick point. Like, if you look in like the Middle Ages, the Christian paintings were very similar. They were very like, they painted a lot of depictions of hell, and you know, they talked about, you know, the fire and brimstone and all this kind of stuff. And you know, that's always kind of been like the angle. You know, so it's. I guess it really is all about the
yeah, like Dante, right? Like Dante's version of hell. It had like 7 like.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, they were all more gruesome.
That's actually, you know what? I knew about the multiple layers of hell through this game. It's weird because you know, like when I hear people refer to that stuff now, it's like people just didn't talk about it. We knew about it, we just never spoke about it. Now it's kind of coming out in reference all over the place. It's bizarre.
Well, Harry Potter kind of brought that into more of a playful realm.
Yeah. I think it's actually Dungeon Master's Guide. I'm not particularly certain. Anybody listening, if you can correct me, I know it's in one of these books where they talk about the layers of hell, but they talks about the.
Before Harry Potter, there was like the witches.
Right. Oh, Unearthed Arcana. Look at this one. This one here it goes into a lot of information.
I'm sorry, little witches.
Yeah. True. Like the ethereal plane, for instance, multidimensionalism. Like these things are covered in these books, and if anything, they give you a glimpse into a subject matter, introduces it to you, and then you go and find out more information by actual, you know, research. And you know, how would you get the idea seated in your mind in the first place, right?
Yeah.
And
that's a good point. Yeah.
You know, and tactical studies. I can't believe that's what it stood for. Tactical studies.
I know, that's so weird.
Like, yeah, bizarre. So
Well, I
I don't
think
know.
it's a good thing, though. I mean, really, to learn like tactical abilities and stuff like strategies, and that's something that
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that just like, they don't do it at all. They can't do it, and I think thinking
hmm
strategically is very
Well,
important.
well, and something else too about that is like if let's say it had, I'm pretty certain it had decent information. I don't know how accurate it is now because it's been through 3 revisions and they've actually changed the name of the product. So I mean, it could have been completely toned down a bit. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I know there was a lot of good information in there. Like even in the monster manual, you got Behemoth and Tiamat. They've got Tiamat's the 5-headed dragon, and like all 5 different colored, 5 different breath weapons, that kind of thing. Anyway, and those references go right back to to the planetary to the planets, like planet Tiamat. So
Yeah, and you were referencing offline. I remember something about how people could use this as kind of a stepping stone to get into the real esoteric nature of magic with a CK.
right, exactly. And that's important to know because if you look at what was this other one here, Unearthed Arcana. I mean, that in combination of the other manuals will give you the key points to go and research, and like almost like a Wiccan store or something where you can go in and find some kind of occultist stuff.
And
Excuse me.
doesn't arcana mean mysteries?
Um,
Or no, I'm sorry, magic, but like a higher magic or something.
yeah, something to that effect. I'm not exactly.
It's like spirit.
Arcana is also in tarot. Like there's the major arcana and the minor arcana. And the minor arcana
I think.
are the 1 through whatever 10, and then the major arcana are, or no, I'm sorry, all the kingships, kings and queens and all that, and the 1 through 10. That's the minor arcana in the tarot. But then the major arcana are actually the trumps, which are 1 through 22, and those are labeled like things like the star or the devil or whatever. They're
Yeah, I think Arcana is almost like it's more of an esoteric genre. Like it's basically like anything related because even like things like ley lines, um, you know,
oh
like
yeah, here we go.
and,
A mystery, a deep secret, a mystery. So it's the mysteries. So basically, they're
yeah,
saying on that book, the mystery. What does it say? Something arcana?
yeah, it looks like specialized knowledge or details unknown to or misunderstood by the average person. So yeah, it's like anything beyond, like it's almost like paranormal. You know what I mean?
It's
But
like that's even again that's another word that like Nawal could be used for. It's like the same kind of
right,
idea, that second side of awareness.
Yeah, many meanings for something, but like a hidden type of idea.
and then
You have to know the meaning in order to know the hidden meaning.
it does say alternative belief systems. Either of the 2 divisions, the minor arcana and the major arcana of a pack of tarot cards. So
Yep.
yeah,
I had to
right,
study it, 'cause
right.
once you get real deep into it and you find, the symbolism behind each of the cards, it's not just a number. It's also there's colors on it. There's the actual symbols that are hidden in the card somewhere,
Right.
and those relate to planets and the signs.
Right.
So it's really kind of a mapping of the star system, like in the sense of astrology, just put in a card system.
Right. Yeah. Huh. That's kind of cool. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I had to find that out. You only find that out doing research through it, because if you just actually just read the cards, it kind of seems like a card game.
Yeah. And I mean, it doesn't just end there. I mean, I mean, you get other games that are like crossovers. Here's one I used to play as well. Palladium.
Hey, what about those? What about the Illuminati card game?
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing, really.
Oh, really?
The same play, anyways. It looks
Yeah,
like.
yeah. I've never actually heard anybody playing that game. It's only a matter of like just kind of decoding it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would play a lot like Magic, though, is what it seems like.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it got taken off the market real fast, right? I mean, people that did, do they play? I mean, or is it just, decode?
See, I don't know. Maybe that's another thing. Maybe you have to play. Maybe there's other answers when
to
you play
playing
the
the
game.
game.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Huh.
Yeah, here's another good one. It was kind of an alternative to Dungeons and Dragons. It was a similar game, similar mechanics, just had its differences. This one was actually a little bit more modeled after kind of like real life. Like your characters could actually get sick and have diseases. It was a little bit more kind of in depth. Hello, what was that?
Oh, I'm torching. That's a torch.
Right on. Won't ask. So yeah, okay, yeah, Palladium. Now Palladium broke up into different ages, and then they had Palladium rifts where like wormholes would start opening up and sending things from different dimensions to planet Earth, and you could have everything from dragons all the way to cyborgs and like big like mechs and stuff. So it was pretty wild.
Well, that's weird because when you say Palladium, I think of Pleiadians.
Yeah. No, it's
Is that an element though?
yeah, it is. It's a metal. Yeah, it's a rare earth metal. It's one of the EMs.
No, not exactly that. Or that's just a fantasy.
No.
No, Palladium's real.
Yeah.
It's one of the rare. It's one of the rare earth metals. Like chromium and unused other ones. Okay, so Palladium fantasy role playing game. When did that come out? That was 1983 as well. So yeah, that was right around the time. Yeah, I was pretty young, man, and I started playing both of those games. I might have even been a bit younger. It might have been like I think 8 or 9 was about when I started. I pretty much had a nerdy bunch of friends.
Right. That's the old story. They actually have a lot of that referenced, every once in a while in like comedies. I've noticed.
Oh yeah. That's usually the reference is a bunch of losers that hang out in their one friend's mom's basement.
Well, and people still play like Warhammer and stuff. That's kind of like I guess, a little more modern kind of Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing.
Yeah, like you were saying before, I think having gone like digitally, I mean, it's really taken the stress and work out of it. Like, I mean, you didn't have to buy a shit ton of pencils and and papers and
But there's something to creating your character. I mean, I when I was older and out like kind of high school or whatever, I started getting into like the live role play thing.
Right.
LARPing, I guess, is what they call it nowadays.
Yeah.
And
LARP, bunch of LARPs, yeah.
Yeah, but I was in like that whole like darker fantasy realm, the like vampires, the werewolves kind of thing, right? So I'd play like Werewolf Werewolf the Apocalypse or Vampire Masquerade, and those was different kind of playing the character, and you'd have to like create your character just like in the Dungeons and Dragons realm.
Mm-hmm.
But there's, like I said, there's something to creating your character, almost like creating a personality.
It almost is, yeah. You're right. And I'll have to say though, like, I mean, the one thing I like about the computers is you don't have to like wear out. Like I used to like, where your hit points are located shit on your character sheet. Those things get so worn out. Like you'd have to copy your character out like multiple times if it stayed alive anyway. And the whole point was to keep your character alive.
And like you were saying, how you would have to kind of like get together and go in the basement of like someone's house and do your thing. Whereas like what my understanding of the role playing thing, I would like go to some mansion that he had like being able to use it, and we would actually play out our roles in this big old mansion in like a city.
Wow.
And you'd have to know people in order to get there. And this was like the Vampire Masquerade, like the other one.
I thought I was a geek. No, I'm just joking.
Right, I know. Yeah, you had to know people to get there, and you had to actually like go through a process. Like you'd start down in the basement, and then you'd work your way up to getting into, by knowing the information. You have to know information. they start you out as what they called a ghoul. It is weird. It's very strange. It's very like a cult, if you will.
Yeah, that's kind of. I mean, I think it's harmless and it's probably a lot of fun. It's like paintballing or any other thing, right? You're just whacking each other with rubber swords. That's cool. Whatever.
No. In the Vampire Masquerade, you wouldn't actually touch each other necessarily. You would just do. You would do roll. What do you call it? Rock, paper, scissors, and those would reference things that the people would know. Like they would have like powers, right? If they had like, well, I remember one was called obfuscate, which was like I could plain sight, essentially. If I had the amount of blood points I needed, and if I won the battle of the
Right.
scissors. Yeah. So that is what that did. Essentially, is it created stories that people would outside of the game tell each other back and forth. Oh, when I was this character, and then I was doing this, and it's crazy.
And you know, and another thing applies also too, right? This is where to do as much like follow-up research as possible in order to understand the rules and the game mechanics. Because if you didn't know that you were invisible, you know, and someone get all butthurt over the fact that they didn't know you're invisible, it's like, what do you mean?
Yeah, and he's battling me, and I'm like, I'm not even here. What are you talking about?
There you are, you're right here. What? You know, but I'm just saying,
like you can't see me. No, you have to. Every time somebody comes by, you're like, boom, boom, boom. You know, like role play. I mean, I'm sorry. Usually you would obfuscate to get out of a situation, not necessarily like go in the middle of something, or sometimes it would be the spy, like on a situation, like you would have to play the role play. I mean, in this situation, like say if you wanted to spy on a gathering of people, so those people would all have to not be able to see you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they have to play like they're not being able to see you. So challenge the what you would call the dungeon master, we called like elders or something, you know, and or no, I'd say storyteller. That's right, we called them the storytellers. So you would go to the storyteller and say, hey, I want to obfuscate all these people, and then you'd battle the storyteller, and if you won, then that storyteller would tell all those people, and then they'd play out like, okay, now you'd have to. It's very strategic in that way because everybody's all in game. And if you go out of game, in a sense, there's places for that. It was very weird. Like I said, like cultish. I was doing it as a experiment for high school, being in drama. My drama teacher said, hey, if you do this, I'll give you drama points.
Hey,
or I'll give you points on your, you know, whatever you call it.
Right. And is that equivalent to experience points? Like...
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Right.
I would totally associate that with experience points because every time you went, they would give you blood points for coming.
Right.
But you would also get blood points for certain experiences, situations, or if you stole people.
Right.
So
on the screen there, I got the coveted 100 sided die.
Nice.
Yeah, came out 5. That sounds about right. Gosh. Yeah.
It's, I mean, like a sphere.
It's in a bubble of some sort there. It's in like a pack. I guess it's packaging here. Let's see.
So it does have little piece edges or whatever?
There's a couple different versions of it. There's this one here. It looks like a kind of golf ball dimples in it. But there's another one there that is actually it's got triangular faces. I'm just trying to find it here. Yeah, there it is. The big yellow one. Here.
Yep.
That actually has little triangular faces on it, I believe.
Triangle.
Holy what? That has like how many? That goes up to 205 here.
Oh, that's insane.
That's
like,
that's retarded.
That's like, what do you call that? That's a golf ball.
Golf ball, yeah.
Totally. How do you know which number to go for?
That's crazy. So now we know how many a golf ball has. The next thing was like symbolism, right? So what symbolism is in your understanding of these games, I guess, or we could go back in time, you know, before the games, whatever. I think that part of the game aspect is about how it's shaped our culture. But if you go back, why did the game get created in the first place?
Yeah, it's got history for sure.
And,
Yeah.
and who's behind that, right? I mean, just do a little research on it in a sense. It's interesting because who does that? You know what I mean?
If you think about it, though, there are like, you know, if the people that are more positive, not a nefarious reason for making it, anyways. If you think about it, they would be very interested in that kind of stuff and been already very nerdy and would like, you know, probably like a way to express it with their friends. You know, like Dungeons and Dragons. He was like, I mean, he was like one guy, and he started it with his friends or something. You know, it's like things that, you know, because you kind of get introduced to symbolism as you grow up anyway. But even before that, I mean, these symbols that we're seeing today, all of them go back, you know, most of them thousands of years. So it's not like they're new. They've always been in the culture, you know, and there goes back to a time when people couldn't read or write, and all they knew was how to understand symbols. Like I heard where one time, you know, if people from, you know, a few hundred years ago lived in our society today, they'd be freaking out because of the symbols they see, because we aren't, you know, accustomed to it. We don't read the symbols as a normal, your normal everyday person, and that's something that I've kind of found interesting. It's like the hiding and the obfuscating kind of thing, you know, the hiding in plain sight. It's exactly what they're doing with it.
Yes, I agree. There's definitely like some sort of referencing to the hidden in plain sight because of but only if you notice, you know, because once if you're not noticing it, you're just like one of the people just playing every day or whatever, you know. I mean, you're just going through everyday life, your escape.
Yeah.
In a way.
Well, I mean,
for
even
me,
if
it
you
wasn't
don't
necessarily
notice
that,
it,
but it did kind of become that. I think at some point, not this game, but that other game I was playing, or maybe, I mean, Magic kind of got addicting. That was annoying.
yeah. I mean, I think about it, you know,
I
like
still have Magic cards. I don't play them. You know.
I played, you know, quite a bit with some friends and stuff, and I feel like the addicting part, it was just like, you know, you're getting together, you're hanging out, you're drinking, just like getting all intense over a card game, and it does get addicting. It's
Yeah,
like,
and
you
the
know,
intensity sometimes is annoying too. But there was some fun elements to it, of course. That's why I kept playing.
Sure. And, you know, but really, I think the argument, well, what does it matter if you don't see the affect you? And, you know, I do believe that it's kind of like, it is kind of like a magic spell almost. It's like hiding in plain sight. It's intentional so that it still does affect you. It's still into your soul at that point. And when you know, there's a lot of people that make stuff exposing videos on symbolism and stuff. And although it is important to understand them, I feel to like feed them energy and point them out is I don't know. It's kind of like a fine line there, because it's almost like they want you to point out their symbols. It's
Well,
like,
here's here's an interesting idea relating to that, and it's how like in character creation, how we were talking about that for Fearborn. In your character creation process, I mean, your character has an alignment. You know, everything from chaotic evil to, you know, pure gold. You know, and they also have a belief system. Like, you know, you can go for it. A lot of people just have a preference based on the research that they've done. Like, you know, there's a lot of religions to choose from, a lot of gods and you know, you could kind of pick the one that suited, you know, your characters, or even partially your own belief system. You know what I mean? Because a lot of you gets poured into a character, and so it works in the other direction, because, you know, suddenly, you know, by doing research, something will seem, you'll get fond of something anyway, and then it'll get you to start looking deeper into it. Like, I know a lot of people who became Wiccans just because of the game, you know.
Right.
And this is where the symbolism gets tied. A lot of these things, like you know, like paganistic symbology and all this stuff, it's all referenced in AD, and you have to learn it in our social circles. And yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting though.
But I'm just reading now about TSR. Yeah, it was a pretty small startup. Two guys started it. Basically, it blew up. They started producing and putting out books. I remember the Dragonlance series. They put those out. Not to mention the manuals, and they ended. He ended up going to Hollywood to start up TSR Entertainment.
Oh, there it is. Hollywood.
They're in there.
So then that's probably where like why we have a lot of the Hollywood connections to what we recognize as our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And probably like where I came in with White Wolf, that was someone that probably played Dungeons and Dragons was like, I want to do my own game, and created theirs. So then they wouldn't have been existing.
That's right. Yeah, for the most part, yeah, you're probably right. There's probably that built that foundation anyway for everything else to kind of be built on top of. Now, which lends me to think though is when Gary Gygax and his partner there, what the hell's the name? I can't. Don K. That's it, Don K. Anyway, when they started it up, I mean, they started with like $2.5 grand, and they created they're creating miniatures, like I guess the pewter miniatures that they paint, and they made a war game based on that, and that's how they started getting their funding to everything else, which was book publishing and what have you. Now, that being said, I bet you they had probably a lot more good stuff, like real meat and potatoes kind of stuff in those books back then, because since I bet you they've dulled it down a touch. Keeping all the symbolism, don't get me wrong, they're keeping all the programming, but getting rid of all the good information.
Yeah, exactly.
Interested to look deeper into that and do a follow-up.
Okay. Well, this is part one. I'm gonna bring on like people next week that are gonna be involved with numbers and codes associated with symbolism. And how they relate to like each other, gematria, and breakdowns and things like that. So.
Hey, okay, here's three books. First 3 volumes of the new Monstrous Compendium. There's a complete fighter's handbook, the complete thief's handbook, and a new main setting, Spelljammer.
Nice.
And that's that one there. I remember Spelljammer because that's the one kind of it went into spell casting and movements. It showed hand signs and of course runes. I think of the Norse types, different types of rune-based magic.
Hey, so people are saying we're having like some technical difficulties right now. It's I don't know. They're saying like it's like or something. And it says there's only one person watching now, which is strange.
I noticed that too. I thought that was very strange. It doesn't look like there's only one person watching when I look at the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, they mess with numbers, man.
Obviously. It's probably there to scare us.
Brought up the numbers, and like I've looked into the number side of things a little bit, and
it just jumped from 2 to 10. Is that even possible?
I don't know.
I'm still seeing 2. That's weird.
Okay, see, that's.
Oh yeah, I see 10 now too. Yeah, that's strange. I'm probably a little behind. I got slow at that. So.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense that way, but still, I mean, you saw it jump, right?
Yeah, I saw it jump.
Huh.
That was a trip.
But yeah, with like the numbers and stuff, for me, I do think there is some validity there, but it can drive you absolutely nuts when you start looking at numbers. It just keeps going to break down everything.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's like any of those subjects, though, right? I mean, people do it with language, get just bent out of shape over numbers. Yeah, you can really go down a rabbit hole. Sorry, Truth. Go ahead.
No, it's all about. Some people focus on math. Some people focus on the gematria, which is like the breakdowns of it. It's like a numerology in a sense with words. if you will, right? Because there's a breakdown, then the breakdown. But the weird thing about these numbers and connections is they're irrefutable. You can't let you could display them over and over again in front of each other, you know. And you know it's not like it's an experiment you're revealing.
Well,
In a sense.
you know, to play, I do believe that, again, there is like something to numerology, but I have seen stuff to where you can, in some cases, not.
Okay, it just jumped to 8. That was okay. Sorry, go ahead.
But in some cases, you can kind of pull numbers you're looking for out of things. And I'm not saying that's all the time. There is kind of a fine line there, just like with anything. You know, you can make big conclusions out of, you know, you can find what you're looking for is kind of what I'm saying in anything. And I do see that a lot with numerology, and that's kind of where I think a lot of people get a bad rap with it, is because there, you know, I guess with anything there is disinformation with numbers too, because there is something to it. I do believe numerology has always been, it's almost like you don't even have to intentionally do it. There's a coding there somehow or another, and that, I don't know, it has been downplayed a lot over especially the past couple of years from what I've seen.
Yeah, and there's also like a connection to dates. Like I've been noticing it because I've been taking the people that have been actually researching this stuff, and I've been looking at and I've been making flowcharts, right, that actually connect these things to each other. So I'm able to like see the connection like right away, like with, you know, you don't have to think about it because you could see how they tie in because of the connections to the bubbles.
Yeah, you know, actually, that is the best way to do it, is making flowcharts. I mean, I'm not good with making that kind of stuff, but like to really get a good picture. I mean, I think that's even like what police do when they're doing an investigation. They make, like, you know, you do kind of connect the dots that way.
What I've noticed by doing that is that it relates to death dates of like famous people that you've always known about, probably since you've been born, or like they've focused on the news in some form to push it down your throat. Those dates always seem to correlate. The death dates, the birth dates, they like generally become like 33 dates, if you will. You know what I mean? Hey, Influence, welcome.
Hey, your
Hey,
guys.
how you doing?
Hold on, let me my other thing real quick. Hold on. We don't hear you guys on the other side. It's Google and YouTube really fucking you guys up, man.
Yeah, the numbers have even been like jumping around. It'll go from 1 viewer to 10 and to 8. It's
Now
weird.
it's down. So I've never had this happen before. This is interesting. What do you do with it?
Oh, what you can do. B was in here with offline hangout, and he got lost on it too. So going on with them, because I know you guys kick in for like 10 seconds at a shot, and then you're gone.
Ooh, we must be on to something big, man.
To everybody, so at first I thought, oh no, it's me again.
Yeah, because it seems like there's a bunch of people in the chat.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm like sitting here watching the chat as, you know, we're talking, and you know, if I give out a shout out, if I give a shout out, are they gonna like respond? You know, because then they won't hear us, right?
Yeah, I would.
We won't know.
Yeah.
I mean, is it cutting out, or is it you can't
No,
hear
I
it
mean
at all?
it's just totally buffer. The wheel just spins and spins. We don't hear anything. Nothing's going on.
Wow.
Should I refresh?
You can try. You can give it a whirl, man. See what happens.
Let's see.
You gotta be back within 5 minutes.
Like when I'm playing it back now,
Okay.
and I can hear it.
I don't have my thing on, so I would. Oh, it wouldn't go through because you wouldn't. It would just sound weird to me.
I can still sing play, and it says it's live, and I still hear everything.
Okay, yeah, I got a little circular thing happen on mine when I unmuted it. That was weird.
What's the link?
Okay, I hear up to the numbers part of it.
Here, I'll give you the link. Oh, did she do it? No, that's the Hangout link. Yeah.
Oh, the YouTube. Yeah, here.
You're probably faster than me. Influence. Yeah, she's totally faster. I actually had it ready. That's hilarious.
That's strange.
What about you, Robert? Can you? Because like mine is doing the same thing that she's talking about.
I'm hearing it just fine. Yeah.
Oh wait, now I'm hearing it.
Now I see a spinning wheel. So yeah, there's something up.
Huh.
Are you guys hearing?
No, I'm
No, I
hearing
was hearing
it.
it
I'm
through the
hearing it
YouTube.
through the YouTube.
Okay, let me go back and see if.
I can hear up to 35:59. That's the last thing I can hear up to.
Oh yeah, that's where it is. That's where it's stuck, man. 35.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 35:59.
Yep.
And then it got stuck again. So that's what's happening then out there. Interesting. Will this still be recorded?
It should be, yeah.
Unless something weird happens with it.
Okay, so for the people that are going to be listening later or hear this later, the viewer area is jumping around numbers. I'm like sitting here watching it. It's going from 1 to 3 to 6 to 12, back to 10, back down to 1, 0. I mean, it's literally weird.
Yeah.
It's not happening just like that, but it's not accurate essentially. And then the actual YouTube one, when I refresh it, that one tells me there's only 3. So that is tripping me out. But I just wanted to let the people know whenever they can hear it, then they'll hear this. I will. Should I tell the people that we're having technical difficulties?
Well, yeah, the chat knows what's Influence and I both said it's stuck at 35:59 and said the have been jumping all over.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks,
and
guys.
Yoda just said same thing. It's stuck at 35:59 for her too.
Huh.
Can we restart the show?
Restart it? Yeah, you could try. I don't know. I mean, just because it's messing up for you, it would be messing up for us. Like normally, it would just, so it's got to be all of us. It's got to be Google and YouTube, not us.
Can I, if I go to the top and refresh, will that do anything?
You can try.
Okay. That didn't do anything. Well, slam. All right. Let's see. So anybody dealt with this before?
Not on like that. No.
The only thing I can really guess I can suggest is to try to restart the show, and if there's something like if Google isn't going to let you do that, I know every once in a while they'll do a maintenance kind of thing out of nowhere and not say anything about it.
Yeah,
I had that problem with my shows and not being able to start it. Like, I go to start it and then it says, for the next 4 hours Google is doing maintenance. So, I don't know what's going on, but that's the only thing I've experienced kind of like this.
Okay. Well, how about I go to my where my thing is to start, and then just do that again, and that'll start that one, right? And then I'll just invite you guys back.
I think so. I've never tried it that way.
It's probably going to create another show. I'm not sure how that or whatever. I'll have to go with it.
As soon as you stop broadcasting, it'll it'll start to what do you call it? Start to do the number crunching and save the YouTube video.
Okay.
So it'll automatically end it and create a new thing.
Okay, let the people know in the chat, and then I'll do that, and we'll send them the link to the other one that gets created, because obviously it'll get another version. Wow.
Yeah, I put it in the chat, so we're about to restart.
Okay, so all right, resume hangout on air. How do you? This is weird. Are you guys there?
I'm here, yeah.
So is it a different place?
It's the same place. We're all in the same place.
Change?
Let you know in 12 seconds.
All right.
No, stop.
Try again. That was a different. So I have to end the broadcast apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, retry.